Hello Year 1! I'm here to read you a daily story. Today our story is one of my favourites. It's called Rose Meets Mr Wintergarten. And it's a lovely story. It's by a man called Bob Graham. He's the author of this story. So get yourself comfy and I'll begin. And I'll get myself comfy too on my comfy squeaky chair. Okay, let's begin. Rose meets Mr Wintergarten. It starts off by setting the scene. The morning the Summers family moved into their new house, they felt at home. Faith and Rose put up their pictures and Baby Blossom watched. Mr. and Mrs. Summers planted pansies, petunias, daisies and geraniums. Their garden was a carpet of flowers, all before the sun went down. Every morning from the roof of their house, the Summers watched the sun come up. The sun never touched the house next door. Next door, everything bristled. Next door lived Mr. Wintergarten. There were stories in the street about Mr. Wintergarten. "He's mean," said Emily. "And horrible," said Arthur. "He's got a dog like a wolf," said Naomi. "And a saltwater crocodile." "They say he rides on his crocodile at night," said Emily. "And getcha!" Arthur shrieked. "I don't believe you," said Rose. "Anyway, don't frighten Blossom." "My dad lost his football over there when he was just a boy," said Emily. "You can just see it through the prickles, old and flat as a pancake." "No one ever goes in there," said Arthur, "in case Mr. Wintergarten eats them." My goodness. "If your ball ever goes over," said Naomi, "forget it." And just then, Rose's ball went straight over Mr. Wintergarten's fence. Oh no. If you were Rose, how would you feel that your ball went over the garden fence? Especially into Mr. Wintergarten's garden. Let's carry on. Let's find out. Rose went to tell her mum. "Well, honey bunch," mum said, "you can get your ball back. Why don't you just go and ask him?" "Because he eats kids," said Rose. "We'll take him some hot cakes instead," said mum, "and maybe some flowers." Mr. Wintergarten's front gate had not been opened for years. Rose heaved and pushed. The gate groaned and squeaked. Then slowly it swung open. What do you think heaved means? She heaved and she pushed. Rose could see that there was a dog as big as a wolf. "I can't see any crocodile," she said. "I should hope not," replied Mum, and threw the dog a cake. Why do you think Mum's throwing the dog a cake? To stop it barking. Rose knocked at Mr Wintergarten's door. "Who the devil is that?" shouted a voice from inside. "It's me," said Rose and tiptoed in. "What do you want?" said Mr Wintergarten. "I'm Rose Summers from next door. I've come to ask for my ball back," as she twisted her fingers. She twisted her fingers in her handkerchief. "I've brought some flowers and some hot cakes from my mum." Mr Wintergarten glared at her. What do you think glared means? Have a look. So here's Rose. And there's Mr Wintergarten. He's glaring at her. Means he's staring and looking at her. His dinner was cold, grey and uninviting, with bits of gristle floating in it and mosquitoes breeding on top. But Rose could see that he wasn't eating children. "Please may I look for my ball?" she asked. "No," growled Mr Wintergarten. "Clear off!" But when Rose had gone, Mr Wintergarten slowly pushed back his chair and did something he hadn't done in years. What do you think he might do? Let's see if we can find out. Mr Wintergarten opened his curtains. Oh. He sat on his front step in the sun. "No one has asked for their ball back," he said to himself, "or brought fairy cakes." He saw Rose's ball and thoughtfully pushed it with his toe. Next, he did some darting movements that made his coattails fly in the sun. And then Mr Wintergarten kicked the ball. Uh-oh. What do you think is going to happen next? Have a look at the picture to give you a clue. That's right, his slippers fell off too. Let's see what he's going to do about it. And he kicks the ball right back over the fence. "Good kick," said Rose. "Thank you," replied Mr Wintergarten. "Would someone mind throwing back my slipper?" he added. "I will," said Rose. She threw his slipper high into the air. "Catch, Mr Wintergarten," Rose called. And Mr Wintergarten caught it. And that is the end. Now, the end of the story doesn't have words, but I want you to have a think. From the picture, what's Mr Wintergarten doing? What's he taking down? He's taking down the fence of his house so that more people can come and see him. What a lovely thing to do. The end. I hope you enjoyed one of my favourite stories. I know in class that we sometimes talk about good deeds. Rose did a really good deed and went to see someone that she wouldn't normally see or wouldn't normally get out of the house. Right now, when we're having to stay inside, we can't necessarily do that good deed, but good deeds that you can do in the house. Help your mummies and daddies clean up. You can help your mum and daddies around the house, ask them what you can do to help. And make sure that you're trying your hardest in whatever you're doing, whether it could be staying in your gym jams all day, doing some work, cleaning up, writing, drawing, anything. I'll just be proud of you as long as you're trying your best. I'll see you soon. Bye, year one.